Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, today I'm going to be talking about magic pins. I have another Minikin Season 2 preview for you. Tula Pink Zuma fabrics. I have some photos from the retreat that we had this weekend. The book review will be for Farm Girl Vintage. I have a demonstration for veering your zipper off the edge of the fabric, and there's a great giveaway at the end. In fact, 2 giveaways tonight. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday. I'm super excited to be here tonight. Becky has the right idea. Becky said, everybody go ahead and leave your likes. Hit the like button, which is the thumbs up. So thanks for looking out for us, Becky. I see Clovis is on, Roxanne, and I don't know if I've mentioned before, but I usually sit here and read all of the comments that are coming through on YouTube and Facebook while we're waiting for the show to get started, especially if I'm ready, which tonight I was ready, so that's a good thing. And I really enjoy reading all the comments in the chatter. Some people working on quilts, long arming, going to cabins for the weekend, so like all these interesting things that I get to read while I'm waiting for the chat to start. So let's get started. A couple friendly reminders first. The winner of the Tutor Bag Sew Along that we have going on in the Facebook group, the week 2 winner is Cheryl Wilson, so congratulations to you, Cheryl. Please email me and I'll get your prize to you for the week 2 of the Sew Along. If you're not already a member of the Facebook group, but you think you might want to jump in on that Tutor Bag Sew Along, the link to the Facebook group is in the description, and week 4 is starting tomorrow. So it's a several week sew along. Every week there's a specific task such as choosing your fabric, getting your fabric and interfacing ready, making the pockets. So it's a leisurely sew along, no need for rushing. I know some of the tutor bags certainly have been finished already, but it's a lot of fun seeing everyone's progress as well as the fabrics that they've chosen. And certainly everyone has an eye and great taste in fabric, and I've enjoyed seeing those photos. Another reminder, this Friday is the first Friday of the month. So we have our first Friday Sewing, and that's a live show that we have at 7 p.m. Central Time on Facebook and YouTube. And the fun thing about the first Friday Sewing is that I can have up to 25 fellow bag ladies or bag dudes live with me on the show. And so we talk about, it's not a scheduled chat, so we talk about anything from what projects people are working on. People talk about new fabrics that they've bought. So like anything goes really for this chat. And if you happen to miss the live show this Friday, you can watch the recording of the first Friday Sewing anytime on Facebook and YouTube, as always with our live shows. Okay, so as a friendly reminder, just about everything that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And also the things that I'm scheduled to talk about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of the notions, fabrics, books, or projects that I talk about during Sewcial Sunday, just check that link in the description and you can find out more information there. Okay, my favorite as always is the notion of the week. And actually at the retreat this weekend, I got a few tips for future notions that I'll be using, including a really cool light that goes on the throat of your sewing machine to help you see better when you're sewing. So I have that coming in the mail in a couple days. I'll talk about that next Sunday on the show. But for today's notion of the week, I'll be talking about the magic pins. So I'm going to slide over to the side camera and show you what these magic pins are all about. Okay, here's the magic pins. They come in a few different sizes. This is the quilting pins, and they're 1 3/4 inches long, and they come in this plastic case. Let me open it up and show you what they're all about. So the really cool thing that makes these pins different is that the heads of the pins are made with silicone, so you can actually iron over them. I have a whole bunch, probably over a dozen pins in my previous pin stash where the heads, because they're generally made of plastic, I got my iron too close and I kind of melted them, so I have like half of a head. But these pins have a silicone head, so you can iron over them or get the iron close to them. And they seem pretty sturdy to me. I tried using them. They went in the fabric really sharp, and I liked that they felt sturdy in my hands. So anyway, I know a pin is a very simple tool, but I wanted to show you these magic pins. I really love the case, especially because my Other pins are on a magnetic bowl, and that bowl sticks to everything that is metal also. So again, these are the magic pins that come in this really nice case, and they're made by Taylor Seville. Okay, as promised on all of our live shows, which we started a couple weeks ago, showing the Minikin Season 2 previews. So tonight's preview is for the Gloss Cosmetic bag. And this is the one that I made for the pattern right here. And I have to admit that this one, out of all of the new Minikins patterns, gave me the most trouble as far as designing it. I sewed probably 3 of the bags. After I messed up the first one, I was like, I don't know if this project is going to work out. I might have to scrap it totally. The problem with my first and second prototypes was that I was designing the front and the back to have this shape, but when I finished sewing the project, it kind of looked like a suitcase or a rectangle. It wasn't attractive looking, and I had a hard time figuring out how to make it right, but I finally did, and I'm finally happy with how this one came out. As you can see, it has like a nice I don't know what you would call it, sloping shape in the front, and so the back piece is a little bit different, but it all comes together finally. I didn't have to throw this one away. It's got a handle on the top, as you can see, and it uses a handbag zipper which zips around the front and kind of partway up the sides over here. So this is what the inside of it looks like. I designed it to be basically a hanging cosmetic bag, so it's got a little loop up here in case you want to hang it in the hook or maybe on the back of your bathroom door. There's 2 zipper pockets on the flap, so this one is made of mesh. You can use either a handbag zipper or a number 3 dress skirt zipper for these zippers over here, and this one has clear vinyl. There's also mesh pockets on the front of the bag. There's another one on the inside, and as you can see, I've got my bottles on the inside. These are mostly sewing room bottles because that's what I could find, but obviously originally intended for shampoos and conditioners and hairsprays and all sorts of other little things. And it's a handy travel, or I guess it would be cool for a sewing room organizer as well. So this is the Gloss Cosmetic bag. It's coming out in Minikin Season 2, which are out October 31st. And this is the most in-depth out of all of them since I've written all the patterns, and I can say that now. But this one's 25 steps, so I think the longest pattern out of all of them, but I feel like it's a cool shape and definitely very handy and will have lots of uses. So again, Minikin Season 2 is out October 31st, so that'll be 13 brand new patterns and videos, and we're super excited about them, and we'll be showing the rest of the previews throughout October on all of the Sunday and the Tuesday live shows. Okay, so if you enjoy our live shows, if you like our sewing tutorial videos or our bag making videos, we'd like to invite you now to hit the share button. If you're watching on Facebook, regardless, either if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, the like buttons, as Becky mentioned at the beginning of the chat, the like button helps us out extremely so much, because Facebook and YouTube look very kindly on videos that have lots of likes, and it just takes a second to hit the like button, but it helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate you doing that. All right, the new fabric in my stash is a brand new tulip pink fabric. Her fabric line is called Zuma. I'm going to pop over to the side camera and show you what these fabrics look like, because I've got a lot of requests from the Facebook group to see the fabrics in the video, because sometimes pictures don't quite do the fabrics justice. So Zuma is an ocean themed fabric line. So this is the largest print out of the fabric line. This is a jellyfish print, and I'm going to show you the blue fabrics first, and then we'll hit the other 2 colorways, which are green and pink. This particular fabric has stingrays all over it, and the stingrays are sort of combined with the sea plants over here. So the stingrays are kind of hidden, but they're certainly floating through the ocean. The stingrays are really cute too. I love this shell print. And the really cool thing about some of these prints is some of them are actually glow in the dark. So certain aspects of the fabric have little neon pops of color, and I think certainly when you get the fabrics in person, you can see which parts of the fabric will have the neon, because their colors stand out a little bit compared to the other colors in the fabrics. Like this hot pink over here, that's also neon and glow in the dark. I really love this ocean print right here. And it says in cursive, "A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor," which I think is very clever also. And then here's a couple more in the blue colorway. So this is seahorses, the unicorn of the sea. So this seahorse has a horn, and there's also a whale over here. And again, right here, this hot orange is actually glow in the dark.
It's hard to pick that. Fluorescent color's not picking up well in the
Oh,
camera.
okay. Danny's saying the fluorescents are not picking up that well in the camera, but yeah, trust me, in person, it's really bright and certainly glow in the dark. So here's some of the supporting prints. And then here's another one that's glow in the dark. So this one right here, the hot orange, this is glow in the dark in the fabric. Okay, let me show you the other two colorways. So let's start with the pink colorway, and this one has a lot of orange in it as well. So again, here's the stingrays. The seashells, again, the hot pink portion right here, and in some of the other shells, that's the glow in the dark portion. Again, here's the waves. And then the pink seahorses, again, this one's got some glow in the dark as well. All these little fish in the fabric, these are all glow in the dark. Okay, and then of course the jellyfish, and this one's red, so it's a really nice complement to the rest of the pink fabrics. And here's the glow in the dark, the hot pink over here. Yeah, we're trying with the lighting to be able to show you the hot pink, but it's on the screen, it's not coming out quite as hot as it is in person. Okay, the last colorway is green, and green's my favorite color. So out of the whole entire fabric line, this print is my favorite one with the jellyfish. I just love the colors. I love the greens mixed with the sort of emerald colors and the hot pink and orange. So this one is definitely my favorite. And right here, there's little pops of bright yellow, and that's the glow in the dark. Okay, here's that seahorse, and these little fish again, glow in the dark. And we have these in our shop in packs of 2. I call them bag packs because they're just basically curated bundles that I've chosen 2 different 1-yard cuts of fabric for bag making. And we also have 5-yard packs if you like a lot of the larger prints. And again, here's the seashells, and the glow in the dark is noted with pops of like really bright yellow. Okay, and here's one more, and this is the stingray. So again, if you're interested in nautical type prints, or you just really love the really dark, bright colors in Zuma or the glow in the dark parts of the fabrics, those are available now, and link is in the description. So I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen the ocean? And if so, which ocean or oceans have you seen? So I've actually only seen the Pacific Ocean in person. I went to California last year to film a couple videos with Sewcial because I designed a couple dies for their fabric die cutting machines, and they took me to see the ocean because Sewcial is located in California. So it was really cool. It was really fun walking barefoot on the beach and seeing all the shells, and it was just beautiful. If I could live there, I know California is really expensive, but if I could live there, I definitely would, because the area that we visited was just amazing, amazing. Okay, so Danny's going to post a couple photos that we had of the So Sweetness retreat that was this weekend. So it was Thursday night through Sunday afternoon. So Sunday at noon was the close of the retreat. This is day 1. Celine from Blue Cala Patterns taught the Baronia bag, and that was that first photo. And day 2, this was the satellite bag, which was one of my patterns. And here's the photos of the ladies with all of their finished bags. It was a lot of fun. It was 23 people at the retreat, so not too many people so that it was overwhelming, but you know, a tight-knit group, and I had a lot of fun. And I wrote myself a note of a story that I wanted to tell, because there were 3 groups of ladies that came that already knew each other. So there was 2 friends that came, 2 sisters that came, and then there were 2 other friends, and I was talking to one of them on the last evening of the retreat, and that was Shelley. And Shelley was telling me that her and Michele, I don't know how it came up. I think I was asking about their flight going home. And for some reason, I assumed, because they were already friends, I assumed that they flew in together and were flying home together. And Shelley told me that they actually were not flying home together. Her and Michele actually met, she told me about a year and a half ago online. And the two of them, and also I think a third friend, met in person for the first time, I believe when they went to Texas earlier this year. And our retreat this weekend was, I believe, the second time that they met in person. But Shelley said that they talk every single day, the three of them. There's an age difference. Shelley told me there was an age difference between her and Michele, which reminded me of me and my best friend, because we have, I think, you know, I don't think of it often. It just doesn't pop into my head because it doesn't matter. But me and my best friend, we have a 15-year age difference. We also met online. But I just thought it was really cool, and it made me think of when we ask for our bag lady call out and bag dude call out, the bag making community, and the fact that Shelley and Michele met online and then they got to meet in person. They got to come to the retreat together, even though they don't live near each other, because obviously they were flying home in separate directions. But I thought that was really awesome, and the fact that we can connect and occasionally meet in person, even though most of the time we might be talking online the most. I think that's really cool, and I think it just serves as a reminder that there's friends out there for everyone, even if you're like me, in your house most of the day, or maybe sometimes isolated from other people. There's people that you can connect with online and have conversations with on the phone, or perhaps meet in person one day. So that was really awesome, and I just wanted to share that story, as well as those pictures from the retreat. And keeping along the same lines of thinking, I had an email this past week from someone who wanted to be anonymous, but it's an anonymous sewing angel. And she emailed me her story, which I'll just keep private, but she wanted to purchase an $80 gift certificate for a randomly drawn winner on one of our live shows. So I wanted to do that right now. So the anonymous sewing angel has offered up an $80 gift certificate, and to be entered to win this gift certificate, all you have to let me know is, and this is something we do all the time, so I know it will be an easy entry for you. Just let me know in the comments either bag lady or bag dude, and that will be our bag lady and bag dude call out for today through the end of the day. This coming Saturday will be your entry to win that $80 gift certificate. So you can use it for whatever you want. If you don't already have Minikin Season 1, you can buy that if you're interested with your gift certificate. If you want to save that for the upcoming Minikin Season 2, it's up to you, but that will be one randomly drawn winner thanks to our anonymous sewing angel, and I'll draw that winner and announce it on the show next Sunday, in addition to our normal giveaways that we do at the end of the show. So thanks again to the anonymous sewing angel. All right, so the book review for today will be Farm Girl Vintage by Lori Holt. So I'm going to slide over to the side camera and show you that really lovely book. I'm really excited to show you those quilt blocks in the book. All right, so here's Farm Girl Vintage, and the author is Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet. So it's a full color book. It's spiral bound, which is really cool, so while you're working on it, it'll just lie flat. And there's tons of eye candy quilt projects, as well as the blocks. There's a lot of quilt blocks. Here's some photos from Lori, which I think is really cool and makes the book extremely personal. And there's lots of options. There's a lot of blocks in this book, and there's a lot of options for how to use these blocks. So the instructions are illustrated and full color. My favorite quilt blocks in this particular book are the fruits. So I think those are really cool. Let me try to find some of those fruits. I suppose I should have bookmarked them, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Clearly. I like some of, here's one, the pears block. I know there's a strawberry in here somewhere too. Okay, so let me flip to the quilts at the end. There's tons of blocks. So this whole front portion of the book is all block instructions. And then the quilt projects are in the back of the book. So let me show you the actual quilts that you can use the blocks in. Quilt barn quilt, silo barn quilt. So there's lots of really options. I feel like this book is a super good value because I can see using some of these blocks on the front of a bag or a pouch, like one of the Minikins maybe. And then here's the mix and match setting quilts for the blocks. So here's one of the other fruits that I was telling you about, cherries. Here's one of the strawberry blocks. they're just super adorable. I really like the projects in the book as well as the blocks. And here's pot holders, so you can see some of the block options right here. Here's some table runners. So there's quick projects as well as some that'll take a little bit longer, like the quilts. So I think it's a really cleverly put together book. Lots of things to keep you busy. I love the stars. I really love star blocks and star quilts. I love this one as well. I'll try to make this one soon if I get a little bit of free time coming up. Some more pot holders. So as you can see, everything's really adorable, and Lori's used her fabrics for a lot of the projects as well. So just a really fun book. Here's a sampler quilt with, I think, a lot of the blocks from the book, as well as some other blocks, supporting blocks. And here's the cover quilt, and I'll flip back to the cover just so you can see that again too. Okay, so again, this is Farm Girl Vintage. You can see all the blocks on the cover, but as you saw from my preview, there's lots of different uses for all the blocks, and it's a really fun book. Okay, so I have another question for you. Let me know in the comments, how many UFOs do you currently have? So by UFO, I mean unfinished object, half-finished projects. So either quilt blocks might be a UFO, maybe you've made some quilt tops, but you haven't quilted them, or you have half-finished bags. Those are all UFOs. So I'm curious, let me know in the comments how many UFOs do you currently have. So I think I only have one UFO currently. It's my summer sampler quilt along that I was working on. So I think I finished 8 blocks. It started this summer, and it's a paid quilt along on the Freshly Pieced website or Fresh Lemon Quilts website. And I'm hoping maybe in November. I'm hoping after October I can go ahead and finish those blocks and finish the quilt top at least, because I think it'll be a really fun quilt. So I'm curious to see what other, I'm looking in the comments right now. I see a 15, 2 UFOs, 4, 3, and I see someone says, Yvonne says too many to count. So uh-oh. All right, so my demonstration for tonight will be how to veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric. So I have a few patterns and also a few videos where I veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric, and there's a specific purpose for doing that. And I know I've addressed it in some of the videos, but if you don't have that particular video, you might be wondering, how do you veer the fabric off the edge of the fabric? So I wanted to show that on one of the live shows so that everybody could see it, because I do occasionally get an email about it. And this cotton candy pouch is one of the patterns where I veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric. So I'm gonna, again, step over to the side camera. I'll show you this cotton candy pouch and explain why I veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric, and then I have a little piece of fabric and a zipper, and I'll show it in person, and hopefully Danny can get a really close zoomed in video of what I'm doing. So I'll meet you over in the side camera. Okay, so here's the cotton candy pouch, and let me unzip it and show you a couple things. So as you can see where the zipper started over here, the zipper is sewn into the seam of the fabric. And then on the other end of the zipper, it's finished off with a zipper tab. So this end of the zipper is not sewn, it's kind of a loose tab. And there's one main reason for having this loose tab. So the main reason for this is obviously the end where the zipper opens, the zippers are spread apart. That makes it easy for top stitching, because as you can see, this end spreads open so you can have it flat, rather than if you had a zipper tab over here, you'd have a hard time with the zipper closed with a tab on each end. If the tab was here, it would be holding the fabric closed, and you'd have a really hard time getting over that really teeny tiny edge as it, the side panel continues from front to back. Let me unzip this zipper past the tab so that you can see how that zipper tab helps on the other end. Okay, so the point of the zipper tab is it allows you to unzip that zipper off the end of the fabric, and as you can see, because that zipper is all the way unzipped, again, that makes this end easier for top stitching, because you can have the side panel flat, rather than if you had a piece of fabric or a zipper tab over here on the end, then you'd really have a trying time top stitching that top edge. So let me show you what I mean in the close-up camera by veering the zipper off the edge of the fabric. So Danny, I think this is perfect. That's really close. That's really good. Okay, so I've marked my fabric. This is just a generic piece that I cut out and I attached to interfacing. And I made markings because usually in my patterns they tell you where you're gonna exactly veer your zipper off the edge of the fabric. And so that's gonna be on either end. And I'm gonna pull some of my Wonder Clips out. Where are you, Wonder Clips? Okay. All right, so obviously you want the zipper to be right sides against the right side of the fabric. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now on this top edge. Okay, so the one end of the zipper obviously opens up, and I showed you that in the cotton candy pouch. Actually, let me move this down a little bit. I showed you that in the cotton candy pouch, one end will have the front head of the zipper, and that end will zip open all the way. So that's the edge where we're going to veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric, meaning off the top of the fabric. And I'm going to do that at that marking. And I'm going to unzip the zipper because you only have to veer the zipper off the top edge of the fabric, just the one half. So if you veered both of the ends of the zipper off, you'd be kind of zipping your zipper closed almost. So right here where my marking is, that's where I want to veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric, and that means my teeth are going to basically exit the fabric there. So when I'm sewing my 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, it'll be sewing, let me grab a pen so that I can show you on the fabric. I'm going to be sewing my 1/2 inch seam allowance, and when I come to where I need to veer the zipper off the edge of the fabric, I'm going to continue that 1/4 inch seam allowance. Obviously I'm sewing across the zipper teeth. If you have metal zipper teeth, you want to make sure you hand crank, but I've got nylon teeth, so it's okay to sew off the across the zipper teeth. So the other end that I showed you with the zipper tab, which is on the cotton candy pouch, this tab right here, instead of zipping sewing your zipper off the edge of the top edge of the fabric, you're actually going to be veering it down toward the body of the bag. And the reason that you need to veer it down is because you want this to be showing and not sewn off the enclosed in the seam of the finished bag. So let me finish pinning this and show you veering the zipper down, what that looks like. And I do this in a few patterns, including the Sublime bag. So veering the zipper down toward the edge of the fabric, so again, here's my marking. You want to start pulling the zipper tape down so that when you're going to sew your 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, you're actually sewing off the top edge of the tape and then continuing on, if that makes sense. So again, this is the end where you'll be sewing the tab on. You're veering that down toward the body of the bag. So one more thing that I wanted to show you with this end of the zipper at least. If you're having trouble wrapping your head around the veering the zipper off the end of the fabric, you can also fold your fold your zipper tape at a, Danny, is this 45-degree angle or 90? Sorry, I'm bad at math.
90 is a corner of a square.
A corner? Okay.
Half that.
Okay.
It's 45.
Danny's telling me this is a 45-degree angle. Thank you, Danny. So if you're more comfortable doing this, you can go ahead and fold your zipper like this at a
That's 90 if you're
90-degree angle instead. And another thing, if it's even more helpful, you can go ahead and actually sew this down before you bring it over to your fabric. So this portion will be sewn down already, and then you can go ahead and pin it in place and just sew that 1/4 of an inch. And then because you folded the end, when your project is done, that's what you'll see, and that's the same thing that you'll see if you're veering the zipper off the end of the fabric as well. So either of those options for the end of the zipper where the head starts off will work. And again, the other end where the zipper tab is, you're veering it toward the body of the bag. So hopefully this helps, and if you need a refresher, obviously you can revisit this video, and we'll be posting it separately as well in a separate video on both Facebook and YouTube in case you need to reference it at a later date. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that answered the questions about the veering the zipper off the edge of the fabric. If you have any questions for me, either bag related, sewing tool related, if you have a question, just go ahead and leave it in the comments now. Danny's going to put the questions on the screen in just a second, and I just wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway of the upcoming Minikin Season 2 bundle. That's again coming out on October 31st. So last week's winner was Jennifer Hernandez, so congratulations to Jennifer. I commented on your comments. I believe it was on YouTube. So please email me so I have your email address, and then I'll be contacting you again when Minikin Season 2 comes out with a coupon code so that your bundle will be free because you won the giveaway. All right, Danny, go ahead and put some questions on the screen for me. And then after the questions, we'll have the giveaway for this week, another Minikin Season 2 bundle. Terry says, is there any reason you couldn't have the tab on the outside instead of the inside? I'm not sure if you mean on either ends of the...
Maybe have it hanging out the outside.
Oh, she means hanging out. Yeah, you can certainly have the tab hanging out the outside, and I've seen photos, a lot of people do. You can certainly have it hanging out of the outside as well. I just, personal preference, I like to tuck my tab in so that it's not sticking out when I zip the pouch closed, but either way will work. And obviously if you have that tab on the outside, it's also a little bit easier to grab your zipper and secure it closed. Good question, Terry. All right, so I see a lot of comments. Can't wait.
Go back to the beginning. There's no questions at the end.
Okay. All right, Danny's going to comb through the comments for some questions.
You should answer this.
I don't know. Amy says, is anyone in Georgia planning a meetup? Hi, all from Georgia. I think I saw you were in the other room, Danny, but I think Georgia is having a meetup on October 6th, maybe. But if you're a member of the Georgia group, go ahead and check the Georgia group for more specific information. If you didn't already know, we have So Sweetness groups by state and by country, and a lot of those groups are having meetups. In fact, over the weekend, several of the state groups had meetups, including Illinois. Danny told me Illinois had 17 people at the meetup, so that's really awesome, even though Illinois is my home state. But 17 is a good number, and a lot of other groups had meetups as well, so we love seeing that. And if you do have a meetup, please post your meetup photo of everyone that came to the meetup in the Facebook group, the main Facebook group, so that we can see all those photos as well. Karen says, could you do the tab end the same way as the other side? Let me think about that for a second. You could certainly have that tab on both ends, the tab that hangs off the end. I just like it on the one end because the zipper opens and the tape separates on the end where the head starts. It kind of looks nice not having the tab on this side, but I suppose you could put it on both ends. That would work. Mary says, have you thought about making a purse organizer so one can transfer contents from one purse to another? I did think about that, but unfortunately too late for Minikin Season 2, so that will likely be in next year's Minikins if we do another bundle. But I would like to have that. I just was unsure about the size because bags are different sizes, purses are different sizes, but I will investigate that further and see what I come up with. Linda says, when veering off, where do you start sewing? So I think I marked the fabric in the demonstration, but depending on what the pattern tells you to sew, let me grab my little piece of, this is not from a pattern, this is just something I cut out on the fly, but if the pattern tells you to sew from one corner to the other, you'll do that. It just depends on what your pattern instructions tell you. So yeah, it depends on the pattern. I've used it in a few patterns. I know at least one or two of my book patterns, as well as the cotton candy pouch and the Sublime bag, and it will specifically state in the pattern, at least mine do, where to start and stop sewing. That's a good question as well. And yeah, I just made mine a generic example though. Karen said, about how deep and tall is the cosmetic bag you have next to you? I lucked out and happened to have a ruler over here on the table, so let me check the height. It's 8 inches tall. It is 4 inches deep, and it is about almost 10 inches long. So here, it's a pretty good size. All right, Danny's still combing for some questions. Thank you, Danny. Tammy says, how do you get the bottoms of the bag stiff and sturdy using glitter vinyl? So you can do it a couple different ways. One of the ways is by using interfacing for the bottom of the bag, so maybe Peltex or Decoval Heavy. Also making a false bottom might be helpful. Danny, I don't remember if I ever did a demonstration for a false bottom, have I?
I don't remember.
Oh, Danny doesn't remember, so that means maybe I haven't. This particular bag has a false bottom in it. Let me take this stuff out and I'll show you actually. The reason I put a false bottom in this bag is because of the way the side panel, because the side panel continues from one end to the other. And the way the zipper is, I didn't want it to be hard to sew if I put Peltex in the bottom of the bag, even if it was just a section. So this one actually has a false bottom because I noticed when I finished the bag, when you're hanging it, heavy shampoo bottles make the bottom sink down. So this one's got a false bottom. And I put, what did I put in this one? I put foam core board in it. As you can see, it's really hard and not flexible. Elections are coming up. You can use, when the elections are over, the plastic corrugated election signs. You can get things at the hardware store and cut them down as well. At the retreat over the weekend, there were a couple ladies that brought their sewing machines and had them in a carry-on overhead bag. And so I know the one lady said her husband cut a piece of thin wood to make a false bottom for her airplane bag, and another had a false bottom made out of, I've heard people using thin pieces of acrylic as well. So lots of options for a false bottom. It's basically just a fabric covering with some kind of sturdy material on the inside. Kalisha says, on the Sublime bag main panel, why does it say to cut one exterior fabric and cut two foam interfacing? That's a good question as well. Let me pull that one out. I've got it back here. Dane, you want to move the question off the screen so I can show the bag? Okay, so Kalisha's asking for the Sublime bag. Why are we cutting two pieces of foam? So the two pieces of foam are used for front and back, and just one exterior main panel. So this is the one exterior main panel, and you actually assemble the front of the bag and then just attach it to the foam, because the zippers, these pieces are different than just the one solid piece on the back. So that's why you only need the one exterior main panel. And then after you assemble the portion with the zippers and the accent, then you put it on top of that second piece of foam. So that's where you use that second piece of foam on the Sublime bag. Mary says, what fabric line is the cosmetic bag made from? The main fabric was designed by Amy Butler. It is from her, I want to say Soulmates fabric line, but I might be wrong. I'm hoping that's the right one. And I used some solids to go with it, and the fabric that I used on the inside is by Allison Glass. This fabric, the light purple, it's actually got little images on it, like little pluses, and I think there's birds. So it's a mostly solid fabric with a little bit of something extra on it.
Sir, grab that one with the bright pink and see if it shows up better in the front camera.
Are you talking about this?
No. The light blue with the bright orange.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's another one, like the white snails.
Danny wants me to hold up.
I think you can see the color better.
Oh.
The white one with the snails.
Did somebody ask about the Zuma fabric, or you just... Okay. Danny said somebody asked a question about the Zuma fabric, the glow-in-the-dark portions, and in case it didn't come out well when I was showing it on the side camera, here's one of the pieces of fabric with the glow-in-the-dark. So all of the peach-looking images, these are all little anchors and seahorses, and what else is on there? Little dots. The pink portion is glow-in-the-dark. Melanie says, does Decofilm make a bag more stable? So Decofilm, they have light and heavy. And I like the Decoval heavy a lot. I find it similar, not too similar, but I would use it interchangeably with Peltex, which is a heavy interfacing, but Decoval is a lot thinner. So I find it's easier to work with. I like how it fuses a little bit better. A lot of people use it for wallets. I find the description is difficult to wrap your brain around, because when I see descriptions for Decoval heavy online, it says gives fabric a leather-like finish. So I suppose it just makes the fabric, it does make the fabric stiffer. I'll show it on, I'll try to show it on a future show, but I know showing interfacing on camera or in pictures is hard to visualize until you see it and use it in person. But I love Decofil heavy. It's really awesome. I like it a little bit better than Peltex even. Wanda says, do you think Decofil gives a bag enough body, or what do you prefer to use? I only started using the Decofil heavy this year, but I think in some instances, especially for a wallet where you don't want it to be super bulky, but you still want it to have a certain stiffness to it, I think the Decofil heavy is really, really great. If you have a chance, gotinterfacing.com sells Decofil heavy, and that's where I purchased some of mine to try it out, and I really like it a lot. Jackie says, what is the name of the fabric that glows in the dark? This is Tula Pink Zuma, and the link is in the description if you're interested. We have some backpacks and bundles, and I think I don't know if every single print has, not every single print has the glow in the dark, but a good majority of them do. Claudia says, hi Sarah, I'm new to your channel. Can you explain what is the Minikins? Yeah, absolutely. So Minikins, which we came out with last October, is a set of 12 videos and patterns to make small accessory projects like this cotton candy pouch. So the reason they're called Minikins is that they're mini, like smaller projects. The first round of Minikins, which came out last year, they were all 20 steps or less, so they come together quickly. A lot of the Minikins from the first season could be put together with fat quarters, which is really nice if you're collecting fat quarters from your local quilt shop and you need to use up some of those fat quarters. Some of the Minikin Season 2 projects, which are coming out October 31st, need a little bit more fabric than a fat quarter, like this cosmetic bag. This was not done with a fat quarter. But I tried to set my game up a little bit with Minikin Season 2 and make more projects for specific uses, because a lot of the Minikins from Season 1, actually almost all of them, were just general use pouches, and I tried to make more specific projects this year, hence the cosmetic bag. Cheryl says, I noticed the faux leather is a little lightweight, so would you recommend for straps the 4 layers? They definitely are thinner than cork. So the faux leather that I sell in my shop, it is doable on my sewing machine to have the 4 layers. So if you're making straps, to fold it kind of like double fold bias tape, or like you would with a quilting cotton strap. If you want to do less than 4 layers, but you still want it to be stable, you can either use a little bit of interfacing, or twill tape works really great in the center of the strap before you start folding it and top stitching it, and that twill tape just stabilizes it, the strap, so that it doesn't stretch or warp while you're sewing with it, or even using it when the finished strap. Aleli says, Sarah, have you worked with Palan number 71F or 926? Curious on your thought on this. I ordered both and love how thick they are, since I don't use foam and I haven't used them yet. So Palan 71F is Peltex one-sided fusible. I like it, but certain aspects. So I don't often make the whole entire bag out of the Peltex, just because I want it to be like the bottom of the bag or certain portions of the bag. I do want it to be stiff and sturdy, especially if it's a larger bag that's holding a lot of items. But I really like the foam. I like that it's easy to sew through. And I just like the finished look of it. Obviously that's my personal preference, but I do use Peltex in certain parts of a bag, like for instance this Sublime bag. The bottom panel of the bag was made using Peltex, and I cut the Peltex 1/2 inch smaller so that I could leave it out of the seam allowance, so that I don't necessarily have to sew over it. It makes the finished seams look really nice by cutting the thicker heavyweight interfacing 1/2 inch smaller to leave it out of the seam allowance, but it also makes the bag sturdy on the bottom of the bag, because I envision this bag, certain bags that I design, I don't want, when you put a lot of stuff in them, the bottom to bow down, and so that's one of the uses for having the Peltex on the bottom of the bag. Okay, Kyla says, is Decoval comparable to Soft and Stable? Actually, no, they're not the same at all. The Decoval Heavy is not an exact match for Palan Peltex, but it is a stiff interfacing, it's fusible, and Soft and Stable is foam. So they're just completely different materials. Claudia says, that sounds awesome. Can we pre-order? When does it release? I'm not sure.
Minikins.
Okay. Danny's suggesting maybe Claudia's question is about the Minikins. So we do not have pre-orders for the Minikins. Our website just can't handle, because it's patterns and videos that are digital items. Our website unfortunately can't handle a pre-order of that, but it will be out October 31st, and I'll be sure to let you know on the newsletter and on all the live shows and on social media when it comes out. And this year, as opposed to last year, we learned our lesson with the first round of Minikins, but Minikin Season 2, all of the PDF patterns and videos will be available as soon as you purchase. So you can make them anytime. We wanted to make it available in time for holiday sewing, because I know a lot of projects. I was talking to Christina today at the retreat. She said she wanted to make for her 16-year-old niece the cosmetic bag, because her niece uses a lot of makeup and various things, and she thought that would be a really great Christmas gift. So we want to make sure we have it out in time that you can make at least some Christmas gifts if you need to have some handmade gifts this year. Brian said, you've mentioned being able to use cotton for the hobo bag. How do you do the straps and such? That's a really great question. The free Easy Leather Hobo Bag, which is a free video and pattern, you can find it on the YouTube channel as well as on my website. If you plan on making the hobo bag with cotton fabric, the body of the bag, which means the main panels and the side panel, you can cut the same as per the pattern using leather. If you are using quilting cotton for the whole entire bag, including the tabs and the straps, All you need to do for the tabs is add the seam allowance, because in the original pattern, since it's made using either cork or leather, the tabs are left raw. So you just want to add a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and instead of having those fabrics wrong sides together, you just need to sew those right sides together if you're using quilting cotton. And if you're making a quilting cotton strap as well, you'll want to just cut that strap instead to 4 inches wide, and just press it kind of like double fold bias tape. So wrong sides together in half, open the fabric out, press it in toward the center crease, and then refold so that all of your edges will be enclosed and no raw edges. So the only 2 things that you need to change for quilting cotton on the Easy Leather Hobo bag is the 2 tabs and the 1 strap. Linda says, when will Zuma become available? It's actually available right now, so check the link in the description if you're interested in any of the jellyfish or some of the other glow-in-the-dark fabrics. That's actually available right now. Just came out. My dad has been very busy cutting fabric. My dad cuts all of these, actually. Yay, thank you, Dad. All right, so Danny's calling the questions for tonight. I apologize if I didn't answer your question live, but we'll be answering some more questions this Tuesday on the Ask Sarah show. That's also at 7 p.m. Central Time on Facebook and YouTube. So you already know what the giveaway for tonight is, but it's another Minikin Season 2 bundle. I will draw one randomly drawn winner at the end of the day this upcoming Saturday, and I'll announce the winner on next Sunday's show. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is answer this question in the comments. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you don't have a YouTube account, make sure you sign up for a free account so you can log in and leave your question in the comments. My question is, what is your favorite candy? I know it's a little early for Halloween, but October 1st is tomorrow, and so I'm thinking about Halloween already. Let me know in the comments what your favorite candy is. I have a lot of favorite candies because I love sugar. I love Tootsie Rolls. I love Snickers bars, M&Ms, milk bars with caramel. I like a lot of different candies, depending on the day, but candy, I like fruit candies like Skittles, Starburst, lots of Swedish Fish, gummy bears.
Yeah, they get it, Sarah.
Danny's like, yeah, okay, they get it. They get it. All right. So anyway, thank you for joining me for Sewcial Sunday. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I'll see you again next Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time. Have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.